Welcome to Grant's Rock Warehouse, and tonight we have yet another in our Grand Funk series. Tonight we are looking at All the Girls in the World Beware. We're an American band that Grant hates part 4. Will I like it? I don't know, we'll soon find out. So let's get
Talking bands that no one talks about. Grant's Rock Warehouse.
Welcome to Grant's Rock Warehouse, and that is the question. Will I like this? Because I've been kind of mixed on some of them.
Correct.
You know, I dig We're American Band. I think Shining On is the best thing they ever did.
Mm-hmm.
But what this comes after Shining
this
On.
This is the first post Rundgren produced album, and it's slightly different. I mean, Todd brought out some pop elements that they needed with the changing times, but this album is pure pop rock.
Well, I think it's more than that, though, DC. Oh, yeah. Okay. By the way, DC, look how we just started this running right out of the gate. We don't, ladies and gentlemen, when you tune into the warehouse, we don't mess around.
We get right to it, folks.
I don't care who's sitting next to me. We just start talking music.
Exactly.
DC Toontime. Again on this series. He's doing this series with me. Welcome to the show tonight.
Well, I'm glad to be here, Grant. This has been a very entertaining and really a fun exercise with you and I being on two sides of the equation here, and me kind of trying to reel you in to being at least somewhat of a Grand Funk fan, because I know you've had your issues with this group for decades, and I'm slowly trying to turn you around a little bit.
Well, the thing is, DC, I really haven't had issues with them. I haven't paid attention to them for decades.
Oh my God.
I could care less.
The weirdest aspect about this band is how they were just so humongous from about 1970 through 76. And then the sound of crickets. It is astounding to me. I can't think of another band that sold millions and millions of albums, multiple releases,
right? And
then just the sound of crickets. It just like it ended, and then just you will hear a mime. We're an American band, but for the most part, that's it. Bad time.
Used to hear I'm your captain quite a bit. They don't play that anymore.
No.
Some Kind of Wonderful you'd hear. They don't play that anymore. Maybe they play it like on satellite radio or something, but I'm just saying.
They do.
If you listen to FM rock radio here in Central Ohio, you're not going to hear it. But I must say, when I was a kid, I could have went up anybody in the hallway at my high school in the 80s and asked them about Grand Funk, and no one would have a clue.
Yeah,
because no one listened to them by that point.
I know.
They were passe. No one cared.
It's the darndest thing. They came, they exploded on the scene, and almost just as soon as, you know, the calendar turned from 76 to 77, nothing. Just nothing.
So anyway, we are here, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to talk about the 1974 album, All the Girls in the World Beware. This is the album that followed up Shining On. As we know, American Band and Shining On were both produced by Todd Rundgren, and I love those records. I will say that. This record is the follow-up to Shining On. This was produced by Jimmy Einer. Now, anybody knows that name. He produced a band called Lighthouse. He produced the Raspberries, and in the Warehouse,
we love the Raspberries.
We love the Raspberries. So they got him. And now, if anybody's ever heard those Raspberries tracks, those were all designed to play like on AM radio.
AM radio.
Because they're very mono-ish. Mono-ish. Is that even a word?
Well, it's for coming out of a crappy radio in your cars that many people had, or the crappy radios you'd bring to the beach or whatever your outdoor activities were. And it sounded good. There was a way to produce those songs for that, listening experience. And what better really person, Todd brought him half of the way. It's still a lot of the old elements of Grand Funk and a lot of Toddisms there. But Jimmy Einer, you couldn't have picked a better producer in the direction they definitely wanted to go. I mean, Raspberries, Three Dog Night, Bay City Rollers. You're not going to find a better producer if you want that pop sound in the 70s and you're longing to get on the charts and you want hits.
So I think, I think this is a good choice. I'd like to have heard more from Todd, but that you can't rewrite history. We can't change any of that.
No.
The engineer on this is Shelly Yakis. So if you're familiar with his work, he did Damn the Torpedoes. He did Blue Oyster Cult, Agents of Fortune. That's kind of his work. And I do believe Shelley did work on the Raspberry stuff, but you wouldn't think it was the same guy. This does not sound like anything like the Raspberries productions. The productions here is nice, and there's a lot of reverb. There's a great stereo mix.
It's a very full and varied sound.
Mm-hmm.
My original album here that I got from National Record Mart. You remember that, folks?
There was one in Columbus.
$5.59.
There you go.
And also, if you bought the LP back in the day, you got this fantastic poster by comic book legend Neil Adams. And of course, he had to feature Mark Farner without a shirt, even in
because Mark was always without his shirt.
But everything about this album's presentation tells me these guys wanted chart success. They wanted to lay back, have some fun, and make some money. That album cover graphic is hilarious. There is music on this album that makes me laugh out loud.
Really?
Some of the lyrics to All the Girls in the World Beware. It's hilarious.
Yeah,
and look at Granny Run Run.
Well, Granny,
I got comments about that.
All right, Look Out, Granny Run was a remake of a Howard Tate track from 1967, I think.
Yeah.
So it's along the lines of Otis Redding. This record is a soul record.
It's got plenty of soul.
This is soul.
And horns.
Rock and roll.
Yeah. And when we get to the songs, I mean, you'll just see one after another where this band wanted to go. I mean, you gotta imagine so many years of playing concerts with the material that they had earlier on. They were probably a little bit burned out on that. Yeah. And once the money started coming in from a few of those hits they had with the Todd produced songs, that's a pretty sweet lifestyle. Once that money starts rolling in that way, especially with the ugliness of Terry Knight and how they got hosed by their manager, their first manager. So,
right. Well, let's look at the comments before we dive into this dog. Logan wants. Come on, DC.
Come on, teach Grant what's up, DC. Logan, I'm doing my best.
BM Bolt. I have not heard this album yet. I only know maybe half of their albums. Well, that's exactly why you're not on this show, by the way. Annie T, you ran with the wrong crowd. Well, no, I ran with the right crowd. Chevy plays closer to home on a new commercial. Sick of it.
Yeah, I sent Grant a text. I was watching I forget what football game, and I'm thinking, what the fuck is that? Is that closer to home? Oh, a nice payday for the boys there. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Frenchie.
Hello, French.
Mark, Don, and Mel getting that modern.
Oh, Logan, you know it. Man, the advertising world, I know with my work as an illustrator, the stuff I do for print or books or whatever pales in comparison what you get paid for an ad campaign. All the girls running.
All right. Well, we're going to start.
Okay, yeah, you're going to talk about that stuff.
All right. Do you just want to go? I'll give it a little. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we haven't done one of these shows live, so it's just kind of fun. Might go into it a little bit different. I can go through all my tracks, or you can go through all the tracks.
I'll just give a little prelude, and then why don't we go track by track, and we'll kind of bounce things off each other.
Bounce by all. Okay. All right. Then we'll do a rating at the end, and then what I'd like to do, though I don't think we've done this yet.
Okay.
Is look at this is the fourth in our series, so I would like to rank the albums as we see them right now.
Okay, good enough. I'll start formulating my thoughts.
All right.
I don't know if this was Capitol or Grand Funk's choice that the direction they were taking. I have to think it was largely the band, because you got to come up with the material. I don't care what you want me to do, but and they were a big enough name then where I don't think they could be pulled around by the nose. And this was a mighty successful album, and they built on the chart success that Todd introduced to them with the previous two albums. I mentioned the album art, and the Grand Funk were no strangers to gimmicks or playing dress up with their covers. Witness the Caveman on Survival, Coin Design for E Pluribus, the 3D Extravaganza of Shining On. And now we have the Extreme Muscle Men Bodybuilders.
But they've got the Muscle Men Bodybuilders. They've got an elaborate poster.
Yeah, they were just having fun.
You have to hand it to Capitol Records, because they pump money into the marketing and the band, the releases, because, you know, all the record labels had special printing on them. They weren't the generic orange Capitol.
Yeah.
You know,
they were spending money on this band.
They always spent money on them, and so after this record, maybe
they made their money back and more, I'm sure.
Right.
This album's got pop rock, soul pop. It's got a ballad. It's got a bit of funk, and only really one true blue hard rock song on the full album.
I'm trying to think of where that would be.
That would be with Good and Evil.
Yeah, well, and you have to thank Don Brewer for that one, and Craig Frost.
Well, I don't know exactly who's doing the vocals on that. I suspect it's Brewer, because
he wrote it with Frost.
Well, there you go.
But that's one thing we're going to have to talk about, because I thought it was a very odd track.
Oh, it is, and it just lands right in the middle of this soul pop mix, and all of a sudden, then you get boom. Good and Evil, and I think they tried to appease their old fans a little bit by dropping this in there. But there's lots of horns added to the mix, and Ernesto will hate that. And I mentioned to Grant before, this is almost like a Grand Funk Chicago combo on a few of these tunes. The horns are really driving and really remind me of a lot of the stuff that Chicago did.
Yeah, but the horns are like one of the stars of the album. I think the horns, when they come in, when you listen to Running and those storms come in, it is motivating.
It is powerful, and it just gets your blood pumping, at least mine.
Oh, this record. Well, the other thing I want to say before we start going, I thought that this record sounded very live.
Yeah, there's a vibe there that's really palatable. And, you know, I'm a constant foot
stomping,
hey everybody.
Well, you don't really have that on this record. You don't have
that.
But this is a soul record. This is a soul record.
Yeah, I love soul music. I love funk, and it pulls me in. This album, it's just very live and in your face in a good way.
Right.
And again, what Todd started with this album, you have more of a sharing of the lead vocals with Don and Mark. And when those two guys sing together or back and forth, it's a winner. It's a great blend.
Do that more often. And there's a lot of that here, though.
We're going to address a bit of that later on. Okay. But why don't we get to the songs here, Grant? And I've been yammering on here enough. Let's start with Responsibility, and you give me your take on
Responsibility. This opener. Good opening. It's got that rocking piano. Mm-hmm. This is soul, ladies and gentlemen. Think Otis Redding. Think Aretha Franklin. Think blip, blip, blip. Think Atlantic Soul. You know, the Atlantic label, the way a lot of those soul records sounded. This is like a tribute to that. This is their version of Aretha's RESPECT.
Mm-hmm. I could hear that.
Well, the way the backgrounds are,
God,
responsibility.
yes. Yeah.
It's the same kind of thing.
Absolutely.
The band's tight, great live sound. This song wouldn't really fit on the Todd Rundgren albums. Those are more rock albums. This is a soul
late
pop, 60s soul
all
pop
the way.
album. So far, it's a good start.
And yeah, it's a great opener. And I have the same thing in my notes as you. This tune's really driven by Craig Frost's keyboards. And the harmony vocals, like we talked about with Don and Mark on here,
Great.
work fantastic. And there's also a nice little lead guitar part by Mark on this. So a solid opener. Let's move on to track
Yeah,
2.
it's 3 minute 40 seconds.
In and out.
Sweet, in and
Short
out.
and sweet.
The next track, Running.
Yep.
You can quote me on this. This is the best track on the record. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
A Don Brewer, Craig Frost song. Great drum. Youth DC, show me a better drum intro.
Wait a minute.
Oh God. Well,
well, maybe not that, folks.
maybe that, but one of the best drum intros ever. Check it out.
and
Brewer
that,
has
like
chops. Holy shit. Go ahead.
Yeah, like we talked about those Chicago style horns, they can come blaring at you. The fantastic Don Brewer drum intro, though. Holy cats, that's on fire.
On fire.
And then the horns come in and even amp it up to a higher level. Sung by Don, it's gritty and funky. Why was this not a single is the question.
Well, I don't find it. Well, yeah.
Oh my God.
I think there are other songs on here that are more accessible. It's great. This is the best song on the record. The vocals are great. The backgrounds are great. It's got a real, the other thing that I noticed on this record, it's really got a good mix. And I'm assuming Shelly Yakis produced it, but I couldn't find that information. I think this is one of my favorite Grand Funk songs ever.
Yeah. And like you say, Grant, the flow, there's something to be said by knowing how to sequence an album.
Well, the
sequence wonderfully.
It is to a certain point, DC. They screw up side 2, though. Yeah. And I'll bring it up.
All right.
They screwed it up.
Yeah. And that when I'm thinking back, there's a little couple faux pas there. But side 1, boom, boom, boom.
Running. What's your thoughts on Running then?
Like I said, Brewer starts with that incredible drum intro. And then when you think this is amped up, then them powerful horns come in to join him, and the whole band gets into the meat of the song. Brewer's vocals are on fire, blistering vocals on this one.
It is,
and I just love it. And after the 2 obvious singles here, I still say that song they should have tried another track on the single charts, and that would be my choice. Yeah. This one here.
Yeah, I don't know if it would have taken off, but you never know. All right. So, third track, Life. I wrote, hey, I was bitching about Mark Farner on the live album. Maybe playing live's not his thing, because all the guitar parts on this record sound great.
Yeah, when he does play lead on this album, the lead passages are really inspired and
sounds all right.
really meld well with the songs. And I will say that.
All right, so Life, I thought great guitar. Again, Craig Frost bringing it. I don't think there's a track that he's ever let anyone down, and he knows exactly what to do with the track as far as any keyboard work.
Yeah, what a great, like we talked on a previous Grand Funk show, what a great addition he was to Grand Funk, because they had considered Peter Frampton, who they played plenty of gigs with Humble Pie with, to join Grand Funk when they wanted to add a 4th player. He had left Humble Pie, but I think Craig Frost is adding things to the mix with keyboards that just give them so many other options as far as song approach, what they could play and how they play it. And he always brings it. Like you say, he always brings it, just the right riffs, extras, accompaniment. I put for this tune, I says a fiery stomper that turns smooth in the chorus. Because when it gets to the chorus, it kind of turns a little bit. Farner, great vocals and guitar. And for this album, the boys come right out of the box with 3 top shelf winners here.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3 to start the album. All three excellent tunes. And then we have this.
Look at Granny Run Run, which is a remake. You laugh, but when I originally saw this, I went, "What the hell?" I wasn't familiar with the original version.
I know, when you look at the track listing, look at Granny Run. What the?
It's a nice tribute. Great vocal blend from Mark and Don. Don on lead vocal, and I put in parentheses, killing it as usual. This is an old Howard Tate track from 1967.
Yeah.
This is in the pocket of Otis Redding, that Atlantic soul. Grand Funk do a nice job. It's energetic, and if you go back and listen to the original version from 1967, Grand Funk takes it up another level. If you don't know that they didn't write, if you didn't know that someone else wrote it, you look at this and go, "What the hell are they writing?
What were they smoking?"
But this is a tribute.
I said, maybe I wrote, maybe the boys went to the soul tunes of the 50s and 60s once too often. But I'm really kidding. They started with the Locomotion. That was great. And then on this album later on, you've got Some Kind of Wonderful, which is also a soul remake. Then you've got this tune. I said, I'm surprised some ad agency hasn't used this tune on a commercial for Viagra.
Because Grandpa's chasing Grandma around the rooms trying to...
Exactly. He got himself a pill and he's all over Grandma. So, in all honesty, I like this tune. It's very catchy, funky. It's funny and fun, which is so much of what this whole album presentation is. Great gosh almighty. And Farner and Brewer share the vocals again, and great interplay, funky horns, and everybody seems to be having a good time except Granny.
Yeah, Granny's threatening.
She don't like the fact that Pa's got the pill. She thought that part of her life was over with. Didn't have to worry about that. She's running. She ain't feeling it.
So I like it now that I know the history of it.
Yeah, it adds more to just where, when you're looking at the tracks, like I said, and it's like, what the what?
I'm going to assume, though, because I don't have the vinyl. Is All the Girls in the World Beware the start at side 2? What starts side 2?
Let me look here.
Because you look, but the next track is Memories.
Yeah, that's how it fought. That's the last track on side 1.
We'll talk about Memories, and we'll go look in the comments.
Okay.
Memories, next track, kind of groovy flange guitar, kind of hippie, kind of groovy. Grand Funk, we are well into the 70s, but this still has a late 60s feel.
Yeah.
Nice Mark ballad, good track. The vocal arrangement in this song is killer. The strings. And Grand Funk has used strings in the past.
Very effective.
This is not unusual.
And this is not one of their epics like Loneliness where they use the strings. This is within the context of a ballad, and it works very well. Like I said, I'm really, we've revisited this album. I always loved this album, but when I was listening to it a couple times leading up to our show, I don't think it really hit me just how really well done this is.
It's well done. It seems like Grand Funk grew up. This is how I listen to that.
Well,
it's like we learned a lot from Todd.
In some respects, but wait till we get to the lyrics of All the Girls in the World Beware.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to make this announcement. Ernesto, hey, I'm driving home
and listening. Ernesto, always at the wheel.
Wait a minute. All the Girls in the World Beware. What a bass line match the drum.
Oh, we're going to get to that.
We're getting to that.
Dan Gunner.
All right. So I dig it. It does remind me of the 60s, but that's not a slam. It definitely seems more like older Mark Farner. It seems like a harking back to an older Grand Funk, kind of, but not
their roots, definitely. Right. But the production, it's a sheen that works well for the mid-70s.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Who else we got here? Logan says
Let's see.
Something about French you had posted.
Oh,
French
French is
coming straight out of Flint, Michigan that night. What's going on here?
said French. When I
Oh,
took a trip to the US in 2018 back in the day when I was still living in France, me and my wife went to Washington, D.C. We stopped at a bar near the White House where this song played out loud. Some American couples at the next table, and the guy was like, "This band, what was their names again?" When I got up to go to the washroom, I said, "Hey, hey, that's Grand Funk Railroad."
all right, French. Man, I am just disappointed in my countrymen,
Listen to
unless they
that.
were like a bunch of 20-year-olds.
He said, "When the man walked out of the bar, he gave me a thumbs up. I felt American that day."
There you go, French.
Golly. Look at that, Logan. French coming straight out of
Uh-huh.
Flint, Michigan that night.
Yes, sir.
Good Lord, this is foot stomping soul.
It certainly is.
Yeah, Drum, he must be talking about something we talked about. Logan, Ernesto's the man. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Ernesto lives in his car. I'm just saying. Yeah,
Back,
is it
is
back,
it back
to
to the roots? You're
it
right,
is.
Patrick.
This
Agreed.
is a soul album, baby. That's what I'm
Mhm.
saying. So anyway, I like side one. I like this record. There was nothing on this record that made me want to scream. At
Good.
all.
Good. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm
Very different from even those Todd productions. I mean, this
yeah,
is
but this is still good though.
it
I
is still
think
good.
I think it reflects the fact that they actually have a real producer. They had Todd as a producer. They get Jimmy here as a producer, and basically before they were just produced. They were self-produced, even though
Well, they had Terry Knight, and
he
Todd
was
said
passive. He was very passive.
he didn't really know what to do with him as far as a producer. He was a fantastic promoter, but as a producer, and then they had Phoenix, where the boys went to Nashville and tried to produce that themselves,
I
and
didn't mind that record either.
it's good. It's very different, and there is a country kind of flavor weaved in there. But it wasn't until they got the Todd, they got the Jimmy Ienner, they got Frank Zappa, someone behind the controls that could kind of direct these
Right.
guys a little bit, that you could really see their talents.
And I must
Flourish.
say, when DC and I started this, we were just going to cover Shining On. And then it was so fun to talk about it that we approached this bass backwards because in all honesty, we probably should have started with the first album. But we've started with Shining On. But
Yeah.
and we didn't even cover we're an American band, but we
Not
covered that
proper.
so much.
Yeah. And the thing was, Grant, it was like, I'm trying to get you to have a little bit of love for Grand Funk. And I figured, what was the nexus or what was the connecting point where that might happen? And we both love Todd. So I'm thinking, well, we got to
that
start with
helps.
the Todd albums.
Well, so far though, Jimmy Ienner, I think he was a good producer, especially for this soul record.
Definitely. Definitely.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we can go on to side two. Oh, wait a minute. Best production producer is Caught in the Act live, ahead of time. Ahead of its time.
That's a very good live album too. Very different from the first live album. And in fact, there's a concert you can watch on YouTube of the tour of Grand Funk that was very similar to the Caught in the Act live album.
Mm-hmm.
It was in Los Angeles.
Need to cover the Red album. I don't know if Grant would like that one or not. My favorite album. There's a lot of people that like that Red album.
They do, and it's fine. But any songs that appear early on Grand Funk studio albums that were done on that first live album, none of the studio versions compare to the live version. So I don't go back to those albums very often. If there's occasional track like Winter in My Soul that they didn't play live that I want to hear, I will listen to the Red album or one of the earlier ones. But every tune they did in the studio that they did on that first live album, the live version blows it away. I can't listen to the studio version.
Ernesto, what in the hell are you talking about?
Oh, wow, that would be a real shocker if they wheeled out Grand Funk. Hey, maybe that's what it would take to get the boys back together, that Super Bowl halftime show money. But nah, no one's
That
going to be.
Ernesto, he must have a lot of time, or
Yeah.
he's in that car an awful lot.
Unless I'm given the reins of the NFL, I don't see that happening.
All right, let's look at the side 2. We start off with All the Girls in the World Beware. I'm just going to say this. No, I have nothing.
All right. All right.
Listen. Sly and the Family Stone. That is exactly what I hear.
Oh my God, that intro with Mel on bass and Craig on keyboards.
It's Sly and the Family Stone.
Oh, and it drives that song in your face. The funk, the power. It's, you just move when you listen to it, and then you get to some of the lyrics. And some of those lyrics make me laugh out loud. It was like the campiness of the album cover in song form. I don't know if you want me to recite a few of my more humorous lines on that album.
I would love to hear some lyrics.
I got Foreigner sings, I got tar in my teeth, but I don't care. I got dark brown stains in my underwear.
That's not on this.
Grant, did you listen to it? Yeah, but coming right out of the box, that's what he says.
Come on, that can't be right.
It is right. You'll never find another song ever that approaches lyrically.
Well, maybe it went by me because I'm not intentionally listening for something like that.
My filthy guttural lifestyle, I'm always shooting for that stuff. Listen to that song and you will hear those lines. It's the first 2 lines of the song.
All right, now I won't want to go on.
You were all caught up. You were all caught up in Mel's bass line.
Well, I'm much more a music guy.
I am not a lyrics.
I'm not a lyrics guy. So I always listen to the.
Yeah, I'm not a lyrics guy at all, and I've never bought even a 45 for the lyrics. It's all the music, but those lyrics, they're just, I could not ignore those. Mark F with a costume malfunction when his shirt falls off. No, that's all intentional.
Of course.
He would peel that vest away after about song 3.
Marco loves Grand Funk Railroad.
I'm right with you, Marco.
All right, good. Shirtless Mark at the Super Bowl. Better than Usher?
No. I don't know about now. Mark's still in pretty good shape. I saw him in concert a couple years ago with Jim Paterick and Ides of March. They played some weird little venue in the middle of Illinois. And my wife said, hey, Mark Farner's playing at such and such a place. And it was just the very beginning of spring. And we froze our asses off. And the bands had to freeze their asses off playing in this outside venue too. But it was a great show.
There you go. There you go, Marco. You are a fellow foot stomper.
All right. Officially designated by Logan.
You can't beat that. There we go. Some balloons for you. So I think that's a good opener, but I don't think that's the song that should have opened the record. And we're going to
second side.
Yeah, I think it should have been Bad Time. Because you end it with Some Kind of Wonderful, and you open it with Bad Time, then All the Girls Beware, then Wild, Good and Evil, and then Some Kind of Wonderful. You have to open up side 2. You've got 2 strong singles on this record, at least.
Exactly. Now that you mention it, that why in the world did that not take place?
Yeah, Bad Time should have opened side 2.
Oh my God, yeah.
Instantly grab you and bring you in. All right, that's just. But we look at sequencing here in the Warehouse.
It's important, and especially during the vinyl days when you just couldn't put an album on and shuffle play it, or, you listen to the album, track 1 to 5 or 6, flipped it over, unless you really hated a song. Then you got up off your ass and actually went over and lifted the stylus and, covered it up. Dave, the pickup artist, says,
hey, Dave,
is my fave. Hey, Dave.
Hey, Dave, how's it going? Nice to see you.
Good to see you, man.
Dave is a fellow Ohioan, DC.
I know that. He's in Jacksonville, Florida now, but he was originally Ohio boy. So just like me.
So Dave, you like the Red album. See, we got another vote for the Red album. All right.
We may have to visit that one.
Robin 73, my American friend introduced me to foot stomping.
All right, Robin. We do like the foot stomping here.
Look, Logan says Dave knows.
Dave knows.
All right. I like my fellow Ohioans showing up.
Yeah, this Logan is wise beyond his years.
Logan, and you're learning so much from us old guys.
You will carry the torch into the mid next century, this century.
So, DC, you ready to talk Wild? Should we go to the next track, or you have anything else? Dave, I know River Valley High School. Yeah, my buddy Sean went to River Valley.
Just that, I'll just say that track, All the Girls in the World Beware.
Oh yeah,
like you say, Slime. It's just so freaking funky. I mean, just that Mel Shocker bass with Craig Frost keyboards, and there's even bongos, adding to the rhythm on that song.
Yeah,
just so very cool.
You gotta have bongos for God's sakes.
At least one track. What the hell? You were even recording an album without even one track with bongos? The hell.
So the next song is like a short little ditty, 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Wild. We go back into that. The horns prevalent on this track.
Yep.
Another track with that heavy Motown feel, heavy groove on this one.
Absolutely.
And the guitar, I'm giving Mark Farner some props. I didn't care for his guitar on the live record, but I think his guitar sounds great on this record.
It may even sound better on this record than it did on the Todd produced, because there were maybe a little bit too much effects. I might be just flapping my lips.
I also have another theory.
It's more pure. Okay.
Shelly Yankis might really know how to record guitar well. Think about the guitar on Don't Fear the Reaper. Holy crap. He engineered that. Yeah. The guitars on that record sound stunning. You think about Tom Petty, Damn the Torpedoes. Guitars sound great on there.
You are correct, sir.
Guitars sound great on here. He's a good engineer. We know that. But, I'm saying maybe he has a lot to do with capturing, Mark, Jimmy Einer. They evidently seem to know what to do in the studio. That's all I'm saying.
They worked together, so they knew what they wanted to get. And
so I applaud. This is a wonderful listen.
Yeah, and I wrote in my notes, and I know I talked a lot about singles on this album, but this could have been a single too. It's fun pop, great tune, driver, love bongos. He does not like horns, folks. It's got
Byron, we're not there yet.
Get ahead of things here, Byron.
Slow down. So I like Wild. Nice and short, soulful. I'm still in. There hasn't been anything on here I didn't like.
I know. And when I revisited this, I'm thinking, holy crap, this is much better than I remember it, because I normally listen to my iPods. I normally listen in shuffle play, and occasionally songs will come up, but I have not sat down and listened to this album front to back in years. And it was like a revelation to me about how damn good this album is beginning to end.
Ladies and gentlemen, this indeed is why we're doing these shows.
That's right.
So Wild, I'm in. Good and Evil, 7-minute track. Nice opening organ by Frost. Soulful guitar. Yeah. The guitar for Mark Farner on this one, very soulful. The track sounds very live to me, but it's a very odd vocal from Don, and I'm going to assume it's Don because it was Don and Craig Frost who wrote it. It's almost spoken word.
Yeah, it's spooky. The effects on the voice are very bizarre, but it works.
I would have thought that this song would have been like on Shining On, something with Todd, because Todd would go, well,
he would have went.
I'm Todd Rugger, and I've done stuff like this on my Todd album.
I would have loved to hear Todd's production tidbits on this one. It would have taken a totally different jag, but it would have been great nonetheless. In a 7-minute and 33 seconds, man, that's going back to their earlier 70s heydays.
All right, Byron, I'm just giving you shit, but you are 100% right. That should have led off side 2.
He's a visionary like yourself.
He is a visionary, just like me. All right, sorry. Go ahead. Give me your thoughts on that again. I'm sorry, I get all
Yeah,
worked up.
I was just saying that this is the only track that harkens back to Grand Funk's hard rock days on this album.
Mhm.
Real throwback, keyboard driven, dark and moody. I said I don't know who's doing the vocals. Like we said, we
I think
suspect
it's
it's
Don.
Dawn. I don't think it's Craig because he never took the lead vocal on
No,
anything.
we can't have Craig sing for
He's
God's
got to
sake.
concentrate on those keys on this tune.
No.
It's just a great hard rock tune and very atmospheric, moody, eerie, and yeah, lots of effects on the vocals. So interesting track.
Yeah, interesting track. Bad Time. Oh my God. And I'll tell you, DC, I hadn't heard this single in a long time. But this is AM radio gold.
Gold. I wrote on my notes a perfect pop song.
Perfect.
And it reached number 4 on the Billboard charts in 75 and was number 5 for the whole year of 1975. And there's no more that I can say. It's fantastic. The perfect pop song.
I wish I could bitch about it. It's 2 minutes and 55 seconds of pop bliss. It is.
Exactly,
it really
sir.
is.
It is.
I wrote it's a great single. It still stands up. One of their best singles, no doubt. AM radio classic. I love it. It's very refreshing, but it should be leading off side 2.
Agreed, Grant. And here we have our mascot, the Dementia Cat.
There he is.
He's making an appearance as he always does.
Yeah, he's a good
boy. Yeah, just a solid top of the shelf pop tune for the mid 70s.
I'm wondering when they put this record together that they didn't hear what we're hearing. Why would you bury it at the end of side 2? Same with Some Kind of Wonderful, but you put Some Kind of Wonderful on there. We know that's they didn't write it. It's a cover song, but you might think, well, we got to fill it up with something. We'll put Some Kind of Wonderful on there and call it a day. That's what that kind of sounds like to me. But Bad Time shouldn't be that far into the record.
I agree, Grant. And you got to wonder sometimes if bands or artists are so close to a project that they don't see the very obvious. Like I know Black Sabbath with the second album, Paranoid, that tune was tacked on at the end because they said, we need something to throw in here to round out our allotment for the vinyl A and B sides. Came up with that little riff, did it, didn't think anything about it. The same thing with Toad the Wet Sprocket. They did that one tune, All I Want, which is, they didn't think that would be a hit. They just didn't hear it, had no intention of doing anything with that tune other than to just tack it on at the end because they needed to add another song. Sometimes these groups are so close to their projects that they can't see what's very obvious to us, the listener.
Boy, oh boy, you just made me write down something else. Toad the Wet Sprocket.
You got irritated with Mark Farner always.
I like Toad the Wet Sprocket.
Yeah, but that dude, that lead singer in that band, used to tick me off because he always used to perform in his bare feet. I saw them.
Well, it was that era. Think about it.
I saw him.
Come on, it was that alternative era. We've got. What's the guy that killed himself? The hippie band, the guy with the bumblebee girl.
Blind Melon.
Blind Melon. Those guys were always barefoot. They looked like they just came out of the Woodstock Festival.
Agreed. I saw Toad and Hootie and the Blowfish back in the day. This guy comes walking out there with his acoustic guitar and bare feet, and I just had a WTF moment. It's like, what? Because D is very anti-hippie peace.
You are?
Yeah, I am. Even as a little kid, the hippies just irritated the crap out of me.
You wouldn't have went to Woodstock in your younger days?
Although back in this Grand Funk period here,
these are hippies.
Had long hair, and I would have little kids come up to me and go, "Peace, man."
You had long hair?
Oh, God, yeah.
How long was it?
Wait a minute.
Oh, God, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be something because I think DC is going to go back into the archives.
Here is what's left of my freshman year college photo ID. Can you get that?
Yeah, I see it. Look at
that hair.
Look at that baby.
Luxurious, long, flowing locks.
Yeah.
And a shit-eating grin.
Yeah.
But yes, I did
Yes.
have very long hair back
I'll be
because I
damned,
played
huh?
in bands and everything. But
Mhm.
I would have little kids come up to me and go, "Hey, peace, man." I go, "Hey, peace, buddy." But I wasn't all about the hippie movement. Let's get that straight.
All right. So Bad Time, you like that?
Yes, I do. I love it.
All
Love
right. Some Kind of Wonderful. What's your thoughts on that before I give you my
it.
thoughts?
You can't argue with the success, and this was a monster hit for the band. You've got shared lead vocals again with Don and Mark, and it works so well.
Yeah.
I just wish these guys would put aside their differences and tour one more time. Just look at what they accomplished together. And for those three guys to have that kind of musical synergy, even among successful bands, those three guys had something very special.
Yep.
And there may be a chance that something like that can happen because I don't know if you heard, but Bruce Kulick has decided he's leaving Grand Funk. He's retiring from the band. This would be a perfect opportunity for them to bring Mark back into the fold. If they could put aside their differences and reunite. And
Well,
if you're listening, Mark, Don, and Mel, please reconsider, because time is fleeting and you guys can all still do it. You still have your A game. And I don't know. And bring Craig Frost along if he wants to do it.
Oh, you got to have Craig back.
Oh my God, that'd be wonderful. Anyway,
and if you guys want to go out and sell tickets, that'd be what you'd want. Get that lineup back together.
And you have our solemn vow here at the Warehouse that we will promote that tour to the 10th power. So if you guys are listening and decide to do it, we could be one arm of your promotional paradigm. I'll get off
exactly. That's all right. But do you like Some Kind of Wonderful?
I do. I don't quite like it as much as the Locomotion. Yeah, but it's a good tune. I mean, of the 10 songs on this track, it's probably number 10.
I mean, you have to admit, Don sounds good.
They both, him and Mark, trading vocals. Those guys, it's a winning combo.
I think they sound great, production, blah, blah, blah. I went into that. I just don't really care for the song very much. That's my problem.
Yeah, it's not.
It doesn't matter who's singing it. I'm just not. I just never really cared for it.
Byron, got him hippies.
He's anti-hippie too. Byron's one of those guys. Get off my lawn.
Shaking his fist.
Shaking his fist. Damn dirty hippies. Damn dirty apes.
Apes.
So anyway, I like this record. Where would I rank it? Okay, first of all, we did All the Girls in the World Beware. I'm going to include American Band because that show that we did about Shine, it was both of those records. Let's be honest. Those records are interchangeable. So what we ever would say about Shining On, you can easily apply to We're American Band.
Agreed.
So we'll go All the Girls, American Band, Shining On, the live album,
E Pluribus,
and E Pluribus.
Those are the ones we've covered.
Yeah, because we've done 4 shows, but okay. My ranking. The live album comes last because that drove me crazy.
Wait a minute. Okay.
I'm gonna go live album, E Pluribus, Girls, American, and then Shining On.
I could very well agree with you on that order. What I will say is they are so tightly grouped. It depends on what I feel like listening to. If I feel like listening to soul pop, I'm going to reach for this album.
Okay.
If I'm going to reach for gritty, hard rock, I'm going to reach for E Pluribus or the live album. But you have to
rank them somewhere. I have got the gun to your head.
I will
ranking decent.
Now I will go with how you've ranked them. Yeah, because I can go that way very easily. And like I said, they're so tightly packed. It's just what I feel like listening to at that given moment, and the differences. Just for example, I love the song "Shining On," and it's my favorite song of the two Todd produced albums.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think the "Shining On" album outshines the songcraft of "We're an American Band," if that makes any sense. I think the songs are a little stronger on American Band, but "Shining On" is the best tune.
The band playing, the production, the instrumentation, the way it's arranged, I think "Shining On" is their crowning achievement.
I do too. So I mean, it's very odd trying to rank these numerically. They'd all be in the same number category.
I could easily give I would give "Shining On," "We're American Band" both 5s out of 5. I'd probably give this a 4.5 because of the sequencing's taking it down. And I don't like "Some Kind of Wonderful." I just don't like the song. So, all the other rest of it's great. Yeah. I even like look at Granny Run Run.
Yeah, my feelings on that song were a complete kind of a throwaway track thing until I revisited it and listened to it again, and it's just very upbeat and just a fun song. I mean, I have a whole new appreciation for it. And if we go from a 1 to a 5 scale, I will give all of these albums 4.5s because I'm a huge Grand Funk fan.
Oh, I know. Yeah, right.
Now, the albums we haven't covered on a 1 to 5 scale would not be 4.5. I save my 5s for albums like Skylarking and Spilt Milk and Pet Sounds and Abbey Road.
Well,
so this follows just behind that.
Okay. Yeah, I get it. There are different levels of 5s.
Yeah.
In the Grand Funk canon, American Band "Shining On" 5s. Now, if you compare it to Pet Sounds, well,
yeah, and that's why I prefer the 1 to 10 grade because that gives me a little more wiggle room with stuff. Yeah. My 10s are the aforementioned 4 or 5 albums I mentioned, along with, oddly enough, "Heaven and Hell" by Black Sabbath. That's solid from first track to last track.
If we're talking Black Sabbath, I don't burn a cross in my yard or burn my house down, but I think "Heaven and Hell" is the best Sabbath album.
I do too. It's the one I reach for when I want to listen to Black Sabbath. It's a stunner from track 1 to the last track on side 2. Every song is fantastic. I never, not that I'm kind of a lazy ass listening to music, especially if I'm engaging with something else, to get up and move the stylus on the vinyl. But yeah, that album is a solid 10. What we got here? Foot Stomping 5.
Logan's, he's a foot stomper.
B.M. Bolt said, "I prefer 1 to 10, but some albums go to 11. See, he's like, you can't contain Byron in his Heaven
Top
and Hell.
3 Sabbath. I like, if we're talking Sabbath, everyone stay tuned for our Sabbath ranking that we're going to be doing.
Yes.
I haven't set anything up, but we might.
Well, I would gladly.
Wouldn't that be funny if we did Black Sabbath on the Warehouse?
Yeah, it would. It would be a kind of an odd offshoot, but I'd be willing to talk Sabbath. I don't know how many of the regular Warehouse members.
Probably a lot. I'd like to do Toad the Wet Sprocket, to be quite honest.
Yeah, we could do that as well.
Pardon me.
Logan also said that all the cats in the world beware of Dementia Cat. Well, Dementia Cat is very passive. It's the other feline upstairs that you would have to watch out for.
B.M. Bolt loves Sabbath. Sounds like there's going to be a Sabbath show.
Okay, I feel it. We'll have to talk around the water cooler tomorrow, see what the other gents
might happen. So anyway, I like this record. And look, ladies and gentlemen, there are 3 solid records here that I like. E Pluribus, I probably give it if we were going to rate it out of 10. Okay. I wasn't a big fan of E Pluribus. Maybe a 4 out of 10. Okay. 5 out of 10. The live album, that record drives me crazy. 3 out of 10.
No.
Not a fan of it. I think Grand Funk were way better in the studio.
Okay,
The
you're
first two,
entitled.
but we haven't looked at those real old ones yet either.
Oh well,
I don't have an opinion.
We can always go and review and discuss those. I'd be glad to do that as well.
The one I want to do next is either Phoenix or
Zappa,
no, the
Born
one
to Die.
Born to Die.
Okay.
I kind of like to do Born to Die.
Well, let's schedule
Who's
it.
talking Born to Die?
Nobody.
Nobody. But we are here in the warehouse.
This is why you tune in, folks. You're not going to get this content anywhere else on the interwebs.
No. Not Grand Funk Born to Die, for God's sake. Logan, the first two Tony Martin albums and Born Again. Wow, those are the ones you like. All right.
You're causing this older gentleman to scratch his head. I mean, I thought it was funny that the first Tony Martin album was very much lyrically all about praising Satan and everything. Mm-hmm. And the second album, Iommi says to him, "Oh, you will cut back on all the Satan worship of your lyrics of that first album." So he toned it back a little bit. I listened to Born Again. I bought that album, and I'm looking at the cover and thinking, "Oh, this is something here." I put it on. I did not like it at all. But hey, we all hear things differently.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Be a lot to discuss.
Sure.
But, ladies and gentlemen, Black Sabbath has been discussed to death. But that's what would be funny if we looked at Black Sabbath and see how we look at it.
Yeah, that would really cause people's heads to spin.
Yeah. Bands that no one talks about. Well, not today, ladies and gentlemen.
BM Bolt says Eternal Idol is incredible. There's some later Sabbath stuff that's very good. Yeah. But I mean, the apex was that Heaven and Hell album with Ronnie James Dio, my opinion.
Bolt, 100%. Logan.
Oh, Logan and
these 20-year-olds, they're like having a bromance.
Yeah. Wow.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we just did it. I like this record. You can quote me.
Yeah, who would have thunk, folks?
I've liked
at the beginning of this exercise that this would transpire in the way it has.
I've loved 3 more than I don't like. So there you go. Look, Logan, the son I never had. What we do, we bring people together.
We do in many different ways.
All right. Well, all right, DC, another Grand Funk episode in the can. I want to thank DC Toontime for coming on. We will be back next month with
you can either do Phoenix or Born to Die, whatever you'd like.
Let's do Born to Die because no one talks about that one.
Yeah, this will really cause people to stir in the chat rooms.
Yeah, I like it. All right, everybody, have a good evening. Oh, in the Contrarians, we have a not a live show, but it's pre-recorded at 8:00. We've got a show asking that proverbial question: are you a contrarian? So pop over to the Contrarians. I'm going to go over to the chat. Go over and check that out. And tomorrow we do have our live show at 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Contrarians live chat. So go over there, check that out, get in the chat. We want to hear from you. Just do it. All right. See you, everybody.
So long, everybody.
Have a good one.
Thank you, Grant. You too, buddy.